Welcome to What's Cooking Show, everybody. I'm your host, Chef Jason Huguet from here at the Steamboat Warehouse.
And I'm Crystal Landry here from Steamboat as well. Today, Jason's going to be making something special. We talked to y'all about it last episode, so go ahead.
Yeah, so like you said, we kind of hinted at this dish a few shows back. And this is a special edition. We're going to be talking about the breakfast with Santa that we do every year. And this year, we're doing something a little different on the breakfast menu. In addition to, so it's some grits and grillades. I'm going to show you how we're going to make that in a second, and so just join us back.
All right, y'all join us back for more What's Cooking. Welcome back, everybody, to the What's Cooking Show. We are going to get started with our grits and grillades. Jason will tell y'all how he's going to begin his first step in making them.
Okay, so for this part of our dish, this is what you're gonna need. We're gonna use beef today. You need some cooking oil, some vegetable oil. We have onions, we have some bell pepper, about a half bell pepper, and some minced garlic. We also have a little bit of rotel. You can omit that if you don't like that. Some recipes call for a lot of things like tomato sauce, which we're not gonna do. Worcestershire, I think that's just a little complicated, so we're not going to do that. We don't do that here. So let me start this real quick. This is going to take us the longest. So our pan is real hot. So what I'm going to do is take these little chunks. This is some good beef, high-end beef. And basically just brown it up.
It's actually beef ends from steaks that we cut, so you know it's good.
So what we use is the end cuts of the high-end meat that we already buy here at the restaurant. Mm-hmm. So like we said earlier, we're using beef today, but the traditional grillades is made with veal.
Yeah.
Or beef. So you can also use pork. Nowadays, a lot of chefs are using pork for the grillades. It's kind of a popular thing. But like I said, today we're going to use beef. Just high quality stuff that we buy on a daily basis, or we buy it on a weekly basis.
Right.
So process is really just a lot. Very similar to like you're going to be making beef in a gravy. So we're going to brown this up. Then we're going to add our onions, bell pepper, and garlic. We're going to caramelize those onions. And we're going to add a little bit of rotel. And of course, we're going to season with my buddy Joey's favorite, the late Joey Quibido. Tony's More Spice in his name. And we're also going to use some of our seasoning because it adds a lot of flavor without adding a lot of salt or too much spice. And then this salt is going to be used for our grits that we're going to start on our next segment.
So, speaking of Joey, you have to put extra of that today because it is his birthday. So, happy birthday in heaven, Joe.
Right, and maybe a little extra rotel.
Yeah.
But, so we're going to brown this down a little bit. And like I said, we're going to caramelize our onions. I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So while we're doing this, this takes the most time. I'm going to brown it down like you're going to do at home, like you're making the gravy. The only difference is, like I said, you can add tomato a little bit. This is not a red gravy. It's not a rusty gravy, so you don't want to add too much. That's why I'm adding a little rotel instead. And the rotel has a little spice, which was one of Joey's favorites also.
You're using the hot rotel, right?
I sure am, yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the breakfast, since that's really what we're trying to promote here today.
Right. So the breakfast is going to be on December 7th at the Civic Center in Opelousas from, is it 7 a.m.
7 to 9.
To 9 a.m. They asking for $25 donation if you want to come attend the breakfast. If you're feeling generous, obviously it goes to the Cerebral Palsy Clinic. any amount is appreciated that you would like to donate.
So one thing about this breakfast is that the $25 donation goes, 100% of that goes to the Cerebral Palsy Clinic.
Right.
All the items for the breakfast is donated by myself and some of the other chefs that are participating. And we have a good crew. We pretty much have the same guys every year. Good guys, Mitch Olivier from Crawfish Corner, Miss Beth Swallow from Swallow's Dinner Club,
Yeah.
Mr. Ray Bello, who's with the Sheriff's Department, but he used to have a catering business. He used to have Ray's Diner.
Yeah.
He helps us. There's a lot of other people behind the scenes that do all this stuff. So the unique thing about this year is that it is drive-through and sit down together. For all the years that we've done it at the Indian Hills Country Club, it was always just a sit-down breakfast. And when COVID hit, we moved everything to the Civic Center in Opelousas. And we were doing it just a drive-through. And so this year is our first year back, like having guests inside. So it's gonna be a little bit of both. It's gonna be really, fun. We're gonna throw out a lot of breakfast, and we actually do anywhere from 350 to 400 plates.
Yes.
So if you want more information about that, contact me over here at the restaurant, 826-7227, or you can email me at chefhuguet@yahoo.com. So you can come and buy your tickets, bring the office, or just yourself and a guest, however you like.
Yep.
All right, so we're browning up a little nice.
It's smelling good and looking good.
So since this takes longer than a 30-minute show, as always, we have prepared some. Last night I made a nice little batch, and it was very delicious. So what we're gonna do is, I think I'll take a quick break, and we'll come back and I'll show y'all how we're gonna do our grits.
Okay, y'all join us back for more What's Cooking. All right, welcome back everybody to the What's Cooking show. We got our meat browning here, and I think Jason's about to start on his grits, and so he'll tell y'all his next couple of steps.
Okay, before we do that, let me go ahead and I'm gonna start seasoning my meat. Our Steamboat seasoning you can be a little generous with because, like I said earlier, it's not very salty or spicy. It just has a lot of flavor. Onion powder, garlic powder, some herbs. So, all right, so we're gonna let that brown a little bit more. Then we're gonna add our onions. So when we come to the grits, these are just, regular grits you're gonna buy in the store. These are the grits we're gonna use the day of the breakfast. But you can use polenta, which is one of my favorite. When I do shrimp and grits, that's what I use. I have tried pretty much every grit out there, and the medium grain polenta I prefer.
Right.
The fine grind is not really. It's almost too smooth. But the medium grain gives you a really smooth grit consistency, and the way we prepare them is a little different. But today, so we have our water boiling. You go ahead. Now, anytime you're adding grits, you want to whisk it as you put it in there because you don't want it lumpy.
Right. You add it all at one time, and you just get a big ball of
Lumps.
Yeah.
Now, you can also start with chicken broth if you like. You don't have to. Now, of course, when it comes to how you're gonna prepare your grits, some people use milk. You can add, if you wanna make cheddar grits, you can add cheddar cheese, you can make Gouda grits.
Right,
you
the
like.
sky's the limit for grits. I mean,
Sure.
shrimp and grits and griots, cheesy grits.
And most people know that at home.
You use,
But today for the breakfast, we're gonna keep it simple.
right.
So we have our grits going really, really nice. We'll turn it down a little bit. So what we're gonna add to it, let's see,
Go ahead.
turn it up. or down?
No. Go ahead. Nothing.
Okay. So what we're gonna do is keep it simple. We're going to just put some salt in our grits. You gotta have some salt.
Right.
And our meat's getting brown, really nice. So we're gonna add a little cream to cream it up. And gotta have a lot of butter in your grits.
You wanna add that now? Not yet, huh?
No, let it go for a second.
Yeah.
So our meat's starting to brown. All right. So what I'm gonna do is add a little bit of onions. Now again, at home, keep in mind, I would have normally let this go a lot longer, get a little more brown.
Right.
So we have some prepared. So we're just trying to show you basically the concept. So put a little bit of bell peppers.
So while Jason's doing that, all of these ingredients that you see here can be found at your local Piggly Wiggly and Cash Saver, 8410 Highway 182 North and 1305 Heather Drive.
Yep.
Actually, speaking of the pig and Cash Saver, Kevin is actually one of our biggest donors for this Breakfast with Santa. He's generous every year, and I mean, whatever we need, we just send him a list and come get it, no questions asked. So thank him big time for that.
Probably the most generous.
Oh yeah, I mean, he don't question. So
Right. So thank you, Kevin,
thank you,
for
Kevin.
all you do for the breakfast.
Yeah. Also, let's give a shout out to one of our newer sponsors, Cindy's Almost Famous Roux. Her product is amazing. I know we talk about this on every show, but it's just amazing. Found in your local frozen food section. It's just great. Any of the stews you want, all the vegetables already in there. Toss it in and go.
So I know I've been saying for months that we were going to do a stew or a gumbo, something with her product, and I intend to do that.
We do.
But, you know, I figured, you know, with the breakfast coming up, it's probably the perfect time to
down
do
a
this
little.
dish. Oh, you want to go down some more?
Yeah. It's
Okay, I'm all the way down.
all right.
All right, add some cream. Let's do that, Mark. Go ahead. Add till I tell you to stop. All right. Okay, that's good.
No.
Some nice creamy grits. Okay. And then put a little bit of this. Now, one thing about the butter, I'll add some butter, and then I'll add some more, and then I'll just add some more.
Okay.
So I like to cut them up in some little squares.
Melt a little faster.
Yep. So a little backstory about this grits and grillades is Mr. Frankie, who was actually the second owner of the restaurant. He's the one I purchased the restaurant from. So back in the days, many, many years ago when this breakfast first started, I'm not quite sure how far back or what was the year that they started it. It was actually started by Mr. Bobby Dupre. And so speaking of large donors, he's actually probably the biggest monetary donor to this event. Whenever he basically challenges everybody, if it reaches a certain value monetary in donations, he adds another $5,000 check.
Right.
So, you know, hats off to him for doing all this all these years. But when this event first started, Mr. Frankie was actually, you gotta
I'm slacking, I'm sorry. Give it.
Mr. Frankie did these grits and grillades for a few years until they decided to, you know, different guys were getting involved and they just decided to revamp the breakfast menu. And so that's how you get that. So basically, when Miss Lynn Morrow, who is one of the faces of the event, she is the director of the Cerebral Palsy Clinic, and basically they rely on these funds to basically operate throughout the whole year.
Right, they do a lot of therapy free of charge to their clients.
And these kids need it.
And it's through our generosity they're able to do that. So.
Well, yeah, everyone's generous.
Right.
Yeah. So thank you, Ms. Lynn, and also Mr. Andrew Guidros, who has always been there since day one when Mr. Bobby started. Mr. Bobby is the right-hand man, so he's had a lot of work behind the scenes on this event for years. So let us take a quick break. We'll come back and finish up our dish, and we'll show you a finished plated
product.
Yeah.
All right, y'all join us back for more What's Cooking. Welcome back, everybody, to the What's Cooking show. We're in our last couple of steps of grits and grillades. So, Jason, take over. Tell them how we're going to finish it up.
So, I got some more butter here that we cubed up. We're going to drop that in there, let that just kind of melt. And so, you stir that gently. All right. Now, at this point, I'm going to add a little bit of rotel. You can put as much as you like. It does have a really tanginess to it, acidity. So at home, if you'd like to add more or less, or like we said in the beginning of the show, you can omit this step if you don't care for that. But be sure to taste it. If you had tomato or some of these rotel, you may have to add a little sugar to kind of balance out that acidity, make it taste yummy. And then what we're going to do is just add some liquid. And that's it. Now, depending on what meat that you're using, this meat, like as we said earlier, is basically ribeye end cuts, and we buy prime ribeye racks. So this one does not need a whole lot of time. If you're using some sort of cheaper, like stew meat, of course, it needs to go longer. We just use these. Only reason we use these is because it's byproduct that we have on hand. It's already paid for, so we use that.
Right.
Do I suggest going by ribeyes and cutting them up and making grillades? Absolutely not.
No.
So, either way, you see, we just begun. Look how dark our gravy is. And again, we didn't even brown it as long as I normally would because of show purposes. So we got some good stuff going on. We also have some right here I'm warming from yesterday. This is clown. So again, let's talk real quick before we start plating up.
Breakfast with Santa is going to be December 7th from 7 to 9 at the Opelousas Civic Center. All proceeds, 100%, go to the Cerebral Palsy Clinic. We ask of a donation, $25 a person for a breakfast. If you're feeling generous, it's much appreciated.
If you want to contact us,
contact us here.
We can fix you up. Also, thank you to Piggly Wiggly for their generosity over the years with this event. And again, all the guys and gals who will be there.
Right.
We have a new face this year, Miss Wanda Juno, from back in time. She will be helping us as well. So
it's amazing to see in the back end, all the people who come. So y'all just come.
We also have a lot of celebrity, local celebrity waiters and waitresses. A lot of local faces. You'll recognize a lot of them. They'll be bringing your food out to you. Our breakfast consists of breakfast sausages. It consists of, this year, grits and grillades, eggs. Boudin from Billy's Boudin. Okay, that's another one we didn't mention. They always, every year, they donate tons of Boudin.
Billy and Patsy are great. Miss Annette, too. She comes bring it. Yep.
And they you know, the breakfast is well worth it. We have biscuits. It's a full plate. And if it wasn't full plate before, it's gonna be a full plate this year.
Oh yeah.
They also have the ladies make homemade banana bread. Or is it yam bread? It's yam bread.
Yam bread. Miss Lynn's parents, don't they?
Yeah, but it used to
Isn't
be
Miss
the
Lynn's parents?
Opelousas Garden Club.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's her parents. They made them great last year. It's
they were
perfect.
amazing.
So, okay, let's try to plate this up. Okay, can you remove the whisk? So I can, there you go.
Maybe.
Hold on, I'm gonna turn all that off. How about that? So we don't burn ourselves. Okay.
Whenever you're ready, I'm gonna put this.
You can leave it right there. I'm just gonna get some.
Okay. So while he's plating this up, let's talk about our sponsor, one of our newest sponsors, Cindy's Almost Famous Roux. If you haven't tried it yet, you need to. It's great in the frozen food section. Roux, all the vegetables are included. Great for an easy meal, and it tastes wonderful.
That's it.
And our local Piggly Wiggly and Cash Saver, 8410 Highway 182 North and 1305 Heather Drive. You can get all of these ingredients to make this grits and griots there.
Okay, so you see how simple that was. Starts with some good grits. It can be cheddar grits. You can do whatever. Get fancy with the grits if you want, or you can be simple and follow the instructions on the label. And so we have beef griots. Again, you can use whatever cut you like. The traditional griot is veal.
Right.
And, you know, not many people are going to want to cook veal this way. They're going to want it like a chop or something. Like
Right.
something. But anyway, so you can do pork if you're not feeling the pocketbook. You don't want to hit it too hard. And if you want beef, try to stick with a more inexpensive cut. I mean, you can use whatever you'd like. Chuck roast, you can cut it in pieces if you want.
Your favorite meat.
Right.
Just use your favorite. Whatever you like to cook a gravy with at home, cook your grits and griots with.
That's it. And season how you like.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
Very simple.
So,
y'all come see us at the Breakfast with Santa on December 7th. And before we close out, we're going to wish Joey a happy heavenly birthday one more time. We miss him,
Yes,
and
sir.
this is our first year doing Breakfast with Santa without him. So,
yes, it's going to be a lot different.
yeah.
Joey was with Cash Saver, and he's the one that brought all the items that Kevin donated, and it was just this huge help. But, you know, he will be there with us.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, it'll be different, but it'll still be a great day.
Yeah, it will be. All right, well, y'all join us back next time for more What's Cooking.